Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, so it's Sunday, February 9 in Maryland, and it's below freezing outside. Yuck. So what? Good morning, everyone, and good evening in the Philippines. So what's going on, guys? Anything good? So it's Ask Anything Sunday, and we'll probably talk a little bit about the coronavirus. Because that's all over the news, and it's fairly deadly. So the latest numbers I looked at, and I shared with everybody last week, the website from Johns Hopkins University that's tracking all the cases of the coronavirus. And as of 7:43 this morning, East Coast time in the United States, so that'd have been 8:43 in the evening in the Philippines, there were 37,591 confirmed cases. Now, the thing about confirmed is I believe China is not telling us the truth about the real numbers. I think they're probably a lot higher. So, and according to those numbers, 37,231 were in mainland China, and 64 of those were on those two cruise ships. I believe there's one up near Japan that's quarantined off the coast of Japan, and there's one, I believe, quarantined off the coast of Hong Kong. So, and then there's a few hundred spread around the rest of the world. And so I have a little more faith in Western governments that they're reporting accurate numbers. But I don't believe China is. I believe they're lying. Matter of fact, I saw an interesting video about the doctor that blew the whistle on this thing. And the Chinese actually took him to jail because they didn't want word spreading about the virus. And that doctor actually died. He contracted the virus and died. And he left behind a pregnant wife who was also infected with the coronavirus. Really sad, actually. All because the Chinese Communist Party didn't want to lose face. there were quite a few in Hong Kong also. I know, I don't know if Raquel's on here now. Raquel's an OFW that works in Hong Kong. I didn't hear from her last week. So I hope we hear from her today. So maybe she can give us some information about what's going on the ground there. So yeah, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, the live stream. So, and then another question would be, how has the advent of this coronavirus going around, how has that affected your travel plans? Have you rearranged some travel, or I know a lot of the airlines were allowing you to cancel your flight and then keep the amount of money on, like, in the bank with the airline so you could rebook at a later date, stuff like that. I actually hadn't bought any tickets or made any official plans yet. It's starting to shake out with my work. Looks like where I'm going to be in April, I'm going to be in Indiana. And September, I got to be in Georgia. And at some point, I may be in Louisiana as well. I'm also doing a job for Taiwan, but I hope I don't have to go there right now, because I'm a little leery of flying around Asia at the moment. So what are your thoughts? Tell me what you're thinking. Live chat not working or something? Nobody's saying anything. Say something, guys. Let's see here. Let me try this out. Yeah, that showed up. So you got to be out there somewhere. No, you got it right, Phil Am. Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I met her on Mira and I met on Date in Asia, actually. The website. So it was, it's pretty normal kind of thing. But even after Vivian passed, I still have stepchildren living in Cebu. So I get back there a couple of times a year usually. And so I was looking for a new girlfriend, and I met Mira on Date in Asia. And thank you for the condolence. I appreciate that. Vivian was a very lovely woman, inside and out. And Mira is a very lovely woman as well, inside and out. Speaking of Mira, so that's right. Now you're living in Cebu, right, Phil Am? You're living there. You retired and you're living there now? Uh, yeah, it's in 2 years. That's what I thought. Yeah, this I know you asked about this guitar. This is an Eastman. I don't know if you can see that right or not. Headstock Eastman. And yeah, I probably will. At least half the year, I think. But the the Eastman guitar, Eastman is a company that they make them in China. They're handmade though. They're not assembly line made. And they made um, violins, violas, cellos, string basses for student instruments. And they had been doing that for quite a while. And then they started to make these guitars, I'd say about 5 or 6 years ago. Because they're handmade, there's little differences between each one. So you really, if you're going to buy one, I would sit down and play it for a while. This one was around $500. There was another guitar that I was looking at by Eastman that was $700, had rosewood back and size, and the sound wasn't as good. This one was brighter. I just like the sound of this guitar better than that one. Hey, Bruce. It kind of depends on. All right, so Bruce was asking about starting the visa process, right? So once you get married, you're gonna, if you're already married, you're gonna be doing a CR1 visa, and which is what I did with Vivian, and it took 10 months before her visa came through. Okay, so it's going to take a little while. I did the process all by myself. If you're comfortable taking care of all that paperwork and keeping everything straight, like I said, you can do it yourself. I did it myself. If you're leery about taking care and keeping track of all the paperwork, and you're going to get a bunch of different numbers, and the package has got to go to different locations. There's a processing center in Potomac, which is, I think, in Virginia, right by Washington, D.C. And mine went there, and then it went to the National Visa Center, and then it went over to the embassy in the Philippines. There are a lot of guides, and to be honest with you, the USCIS website, if you just Google CR-1, CR1, it'll bring up links, and if you go directly to their website, you can download all the forms. You can take care of all that right there, and you'll need to gather documents. You'll need a copy of your marriage license and all that kind of stuff. What I did for some of those was, since I didn't have the copy with me here in the U.S., I just basically told them, or I had a copy, but I didn't have the original. And I said, I sent them the copy, and I said, Vivian will gladly produce the original at her hearing in Manila at the embassy. So that's a way to do it. But there's a lot of resources online for doing that. if you're not comfortable with that, you can hire one of the companies. Um, you know, one of the companies that do that, or you can go get a immigration attorney. The price keeps going up. If you get a company, you can probably get it all done for around an extra $500. It's going to cost you a couple grand anyway, but an extra 500 to pay the company and do the paperwork for you. And if you go to an immigration attorney, then the price really goes up because attorneys ain't cheap. But anyway, that's something to consider. And the same with the children. It's just maybe some extra fees there, but yeah. Hi, Priscilla. Same to you. Blessed Sunday to you. So Bruce, you're from Baltimore. You're local. I'm in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Isolama. Isoalma. I don't know how to pronounce it. Baltimore is a big zoo. Be honest with you, sections of it really are. To be honest with you, I don't go there very much. Hey, Amy, good to see you. I don't really know. Like I said, I did it myself, so I didn't use an agency, so I can't really recommend one. But you can find them online, and there are also resources and ratings and stuff like that. If you search on them, you'll find information and reviews of their work and stuff like that. You should be able to sort out the good ones from the bad ones. Charlene Piquinto. Hi, good morning. My name is Ken. I'm Ken. So yeah, it's a time-consuming process, but it's not that difficult actually. The immigration process. And I wouldn't get all worried about immigration rules or anything changing. I doubt that the government would change those. I don't think Trump's interested in doing that because this is family. This is family immigration. I mean, your wife is your wife, and your children are your children. So I don't think that's a big deal. I don't know, Bruce. Maybe at some point I might have some time. I'm a pretty busy guy, so and I'm not sure how much. If email me, it's postcards from Cebu at gmail.com, and we'll take it from there. Hey, Charlene, I live in Maryland. Glen Burnie, Maryland is a little town south of Baltimore and north of Washington, D.C. There you go, Bruce. There's looks like Phil Am's already done it. No legal advice. So just also send him an email. So, guys, well, Bruce, you mentioned that you're going to be going there pretty soon. Any thoughts regarding this coronavirus outbreak, and has it changed any of your plans, travel plans, or whatnot? Hey, Charlene. Yeah, I sing, but I got to be careful on YouTube because of copyright. Yeah, I actually have a customer in Taiwan, and but I'm hoping I don't need to travel there. I'm hoping I can get everything done for them remotely. Um, because right now I really don't want to be traveling around Asia with all the coronavirus stuff going on. I was talking about those numbers earlier this morning, and if you look at last week's, or no, if you look at the community tab on my channel, go to my channel page and hit the community tab. I put a couple of resources there. One is a link to the Johns Hopkins University. They have a website where they're tracking all the reported cases and the number of people who have died and the number of people who have recovered. A lot of good information there on where the coronavirus is known to be at this time and those kinds of things. And so they do know that the virus will live on a surface like a tray table of an airplane for a few days. That being the case, and all those airplanes have had all these sick people traveling back and forth in them, I figure I might give it a month or two. I know in April I got to be in Indiana, so I wouldn't be able to go then, but I guess maybe May or June, if I needed to, I could go over to Taiwan. But yeah, so it's definitely affected my travel plans. I wanted to go in April because that's a good time to go fishing in Siargao, and I wanted to go over to Siargao and do some fishing. But my customer kind of nixed that plan, so I've had to make other plans. Hey, baby, how are you? Good morning. Good evening to you. So what are your thoughts on yeah, but well, that's the Philippines for you. So anybody else having any changes to your travel plans or anything because of the coronavirus? Actually, Mira and I went over to, speaking about the guitar, I was just reading your comment about guitar, to a couple of the guitar factories over in on Lapu-Lapu. That was kind of cool. I got to play some of their guitars, and some of the ones that are made out of wood, from the mango tree. Oh man, they're so beautiful. The grain and everything, and they sounded good too. They sounded really good. I had never played a guitar like that before, so that was really, really cool. And the inlay on the neck, you see on the neck of this guitar, they're just dots, but they had beautiful inlay in the fingerboard of a rosary and a cross and stuff, crucifix. It was really cool. Really, really cool. Beautiful artwork on that guitar as well. So the wood itself was beautiful. The finish was beautiful. and the inlay was really nice. So I wanted to buy it, but I didn't. I already have enough guitars laying around here. Hey, Priscilla. Um, I want to say it was about 8 or 9 months. Um, for it depends on the visa type. Um, for the CR1, which is what Vivian and I did, it was about 8 or 9 months. Yeah, and then she went for the interview, and then shortly after that, she got her visa and she was able to come here. Yeah, see you, Phil. Ann. Have good, take care, man. Yeah, there's some really nice guitar shops over there. And Mira and I went over one day and visited some of those. That was really cool. They do some beautiful work, and it's all handmade. They're all handmade. So we walked through the shop. We got there around noontime, so all the workers were actually off at the moment. They were out having their lunch, but it was really cool. A lot of fun. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up there or a thumbs down if you want, but I prefer the thumbs up. So I've been kind of lazy this weekend. Actually, I've been reading a book. I've been reading this book by author Robert Kiyosaki. It's called um, Fake Money, Fake Teachers, and Fake Assets. So if you like to dabble in real estate like I do, and he's a good guy to follow. His first book was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's worth the read. So I would read if you never read Robert Kiyosaki stuff before, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, his first book, and then come read this one. Yeah, hey Priscilla. Yeah, I don't know, what causes the delays, but I know Vivian's took a long time. I mean, you've been waiting 7 weeks. Hers took 7 or 8 months before she got the interview. So it's actually a fairly involved process that it has to go through. The papers go first to a U.S. government agency called USCIS, which is United States Citizenship and Immigration Service or something like that. And then they do a check of all the paperwork, and they checked on me to make sure that I could afford to take care of Vivian when she got here and all that kind of stuff. And then it goes to the National Visa Center, and then they process the paperwork. Each time along the way, you have to pay another fee, $500-600 a clip. And then when the National Visa Center is done with the papers, then they send them to the embassy in Manila. And once the embassy in Manila has them, then they schedule the appointment. So, like I said, it took a long time. So just going to have to be patient, hang in there. So I would suspect, Priscilla, that sometimes they're probably a little faster, and sometimes slower, you know. So you really never know. You just got to be patient and wait it out. But it'll happen eventually. And also, your husband should be able to tell you where, because they should be communicating with him um, to let you know where in the process they are. Um, so he should be able to tell you if the papers are at the National Visa Center, if they're still at USCIS. Excuse me. So, yeah. And it's just a long process. All right, guys. Well, it's been real nice chatting with everybody this morning. God bless you all. Everybody have a good evening or a good day, depending on where you're at. And I will chat with you next week. See you later, guys. Bye. Love you all. Bye-bye.